Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and we're coming at you guys live after the Orioles and Astros game one of this three-game series. The Orioles win this game 7-0 in an absolutely crazy, almost historical game for the Baltimore Orioles, but not just for the Orioles, but for baseball in general. Today was definitely one of the most memorable Orioles games of the season, and there's been 120 plus games this year for the Orioles, and this is by far one of the most, if not the most memorable game of the season. And it was a nice little 7-0 shutout where the Orioles got a win over the Astros. In a very good game. The offense went out there, performed very well, had 13 hits, scored, had a couple of home runs in this game. Scored 7 runs off of those 13 hits. It was a very good offensive day for the Orioles. But not only was it a good offensive day, it was an even better pitching day for the Orioles. Again, the Orioles pitched a shutout today. You don't really see that too often, especially with this Baltimore Orioles team and the pitching staff that they have. But the Orioles were able to go out there and get a shutout on the Astros. But the main reason why the Orioles got a shutout and the main reason why the game happened the way that it did, and the main reason why this game is going to be so memorable is because this game is going to go down as the Brandon Young game. August 15th, 2025. Today will be labeled as the Brandon Young game. And the reason why I say that is because Brandon Young, for 7.2 innings of this game, for 23 straight batters and 23 straight appearances on deck for Astros hitters. 23 up, 23 down is how this game started for Brandon Young. He went 7.2 innings perfect in this game to start this game. Not even to start this game. I mean, this went all the way to the 8th inning. He went 7.2 innings perfect in this game. He was 4 outs away from having a perfect game, which would have been the first perfect game in Orioles history and one of the first, and really one of very select perfect games ever in Major League Baseball history. And Brandon Young, somebody who has been not great for the Orioles this year. Overall this season, he's shown very small flashes of having potential, but throughout this year, he just has not had a good year. He's someone who is very hard on himself. He's very critical about his performances, but going into tonight, he was 0-6 with a 6.7 ERA. Nobody really thought he was going to do anything today. Nobody really thought it was going to be a competitive day for the Orioles because, again, Brandon Young has just had a lot of bad starts this season, and he really gave us no reason to think that we really had a chance to win today, especially against a team like the Astros. But Brandon Young went out there. He grew up like an hour away in Lubberton, Texas. His whole family was there today. He said he had like 17 different family members up in the Astros stands today in Houston. And it was honestly such a beautiful, just poetic performance overall for Brandon Young. Really a homecoming back in Houston. And Brandon Young went out there, 7.2 innings perfect, had 6 strikeouts, got through 8 innings not 8 innings perfect. He got through 7.2 innings perfect in this game before eventually the perfect game and the no-hitter ended both at the same time to a very familiar face in Ramon Urias. And when Ramon Urias came up to the at bat, you just kind of had that gut feeling that if anybody was going to end the perfect game, it was going to be the former Oriole that we traded to the Astros just a couple of weeks ago in Ramon Urias. And behold, he was the one to end the perfect game. But the way that he ended it was just so heartbreaking. It was a very softly hit infield single that Brandon Young tried to pick up and throw to first. But it was just an off throw. They marked it an infield single and an error. So the infield single obviously counts as a hit, which ends not only the perfect game, but the no-hitter in general. Very heartbreaking way for this game to end. Not even for the way the game to end. A very heartbreaking way for the perfect game to end. It had to come from Ramon Urias, who obviously was a former teammate of Brandon Young in Baltimore this season, and obviously the former longtime Oriole Ramon Urias was the one to break it up. Of course it was him. Of course it was him. While I was watching the game, you just kind of had the gut feeling that it might be him to do it, and lo and behold, it was Ramon Urias to end the perfect game. But at the same time, you don't really want to sit there and dread on the fact that the perfect game was over. You do want to look at the positive in the fact that the Orioles won this game. They've won 3 straight games. They won the game today, and Brandon Young ended up finishing out the 8th inning and going through 8 innings, giving up 0 runs, only giving up 1 hit, which was a soft hit infield single by Ramon Urias, and had 6 strikeouts in the process. Got through 8 innings, only gave up 1 hit, 0 walks, 0 runs. And this is the best start by an Orioles pitcher this season by far. I thought what Trevor Rogers did against the Cubs a couple of weeks ago, where he went 8 innings and only gave up 1 run and lost, I thought that performance was the best performance by an Oriole pitcher this season. But Brandon Young, of all pitchers, was the one to completely have the best pitching performance by an Orioles pitcher I've seen this year, and honestly over the past couple of years as well. He was 4 outs away from having a perfect game. He was 4 outs away from perfection, and how hard it is to get a perfect game. It just hurts. You kind of really do feel bad for Brandon Young. You feel for the guy. Just a soft infield single that he picked up with his bare hand, tried to throw it to first. It was an offline throw to Kobe Mayo at first. And that's how it ended. It just sucks that that's how it ended. If it ended off of a home run, you kind of respect that. If it ended off of just a hard hit, a hard base hit, then you kind of respect that as well. But a soft infield single and a play that I think is going to haunt Brandon Young for maybe for a pretty long time. Because if I was Brandon Young, it would definitely haunt me. But at the same time, you got to think things positive. Obviously, the Orioles get a win here. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I'm going to sit here and say that, it was a little bit of an uneasy feeling at the end of the game, just knowing how the perfect game ended. We were so close to history, and even though the Orioles ended up getting the win, you really, really would have just loved to see the perfect game for as rare as it is, and also for as close as the Orioles got to it. It just sucks that it had to end the way that it did. But all of the respect in the world goes to Brandon Young for his performance today. 8 innings, 1 run, not even 1 run, sorry. 8 innings, 1 hit, 0 walks, 0 runs, 6 strikeouts. A phenomenal performance. The best pitching performance by an Orioles pitcher all season long. And not just the best pitching performance by an Oriole. One of the better pitching performances, honestly, of this season in general. There has not been a no-hitter all year, and you really thought that Brandon Young could maybe be the first, and you kind of throw his ERA, you throw his record out the window. The fact that he got this close was so crazy, and it was such an interesting and fun game to watch. The offense was out there doing its thing while Brandon Young was dominating. An overall great win for the Orioles, one of the best wins that we've had all year, and also paired up with the best pitching performance we've seen all year by an Oriole. So let's just get into this game. I know that I've already talked a lot about the game and how the game went and all that stuff, but the Orioles win this game 7-0 over the Houston Astros. And if I talk about Brandon Young a lot today, there's a good reason for it, because of how good and phenomenal of a performance that he had. This really is labeled as the Brandon Young game. I'm going to put it in the title of this episode. The Orioles themselves kind of also deemed this game the Brandon Young game, and he deserves it, man. What a performance by him. He's somebody who, you look at a lot of the interviews and stuff that he's been saying over the past few weeks, and some of his really bad performances, he feels like he's letting the team down. He's been very hard on himself, and for him to go out there and have this performance really is something special, and it really is kind of a glimpse into the future of something that really could be special with this guy. This type of performance for Brandon Young could really spark up a very big confidence boost for him, and he could go on an absolute tear to end this season, and then potentially play a big role in the Orioles pitching staff next season. We'll see. We'll see how spring training works. We'll see all that stuff. But Brandon Young showed today that he really, again, he was not having a good season before today. But he went out there today and had an absolute gem of a performance. And to be honest with you, he gets all the respect from me, gets all the respect from all the Orioles fans, gets all the respect from everybody for the performance that he had today. The Astros fans today were giving him a standing ovation, as they should. Shout out to Brandon Young for such a good performance, and hopefully this kickstarts a really big momentum boost for him throughout the rest of the year, and hopefully he can be a very solid pitching piece for the Orioles moving into 2026 and onwards. But going over the offense today, again, I haven't even really talked about the offense at all because this game really was all about Brandon Young. But the Orioles offense in this game scored 7 runs. They put up 13 hits. They scored 7 runs on those 13 hits. They had 2 home runs hit. They went 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and they left 7 guys on base. So overall, a very good day for the offense as well. One of the best days on offense that we've had since the trade deadline. I actually think this might be the best day we've had on offense since the trade deadline. But Jackson Holliday was leading off today. He went 1 for 5 with a run scored. Jordan Westburg in this game, he did really good. He was one of 3 Orioles with multiple hits. Jordan goes 2 for 4 with 1 run scored and a walk. Gunnar Henderson in this game goes 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Adley Rutschman goes 1 for 5. Ryan Mountcastle goes 2 for 5 with a run scored. Kobe Mayo goes 1 for 4 with a solo home run. He's one of 2 players in this game that had a home run, so shout out to Kobe Mayo for getting his 5th home run of the year. Jeremiah Jackson gets 2 hits in this game with an RBI. Dylan Carlson goes 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs off of a 2-run homer by Dylan Carlson that snuck over the Crawford boxes and almost went foul, but it did stay fair for a home run. And then D. Johnson went 1 for 4 with a run scored. So overall, a great day for the Baltimore Orioles offense and an even better day for the pitching. But I do want to discuss something related to the Baltimore Orioles offense real quick. I know there's been a lot of positive stuff going on in this game with Brandon Young and the Baltimore Orioles and all that stuff, but I do want to bring up the fact, because it's been something that we've been talking about for weeks. It's been something that I talked about in yesterday's episode a lot, because I thought it was going to be something that happened today. But as you guys can see, Dylan Beavers and Samuel Basallo did not get called up to the Orioles today, and now that it is the 15th, they can get called up any time now. So now it really is like any day, any time. We might hear the call up. I mean, we might hear the call up tomorrow morning. We might hear the call up in 10 minutes. Who knows? But the Orioles and Dylan Beavers and Samuel Basallo, we did not call up those guys. I still don't really understand why you don't call up Dylan Beavers in this situation, but at the same time, you can't complain too much. The Orioles got the win today, but you would really like to have seen Dylan Beavers get some regular at-bats when you have, Johnson and Jeremiah Jackson and Dylan Carlson and guys like that out in the outfield. Now, no disrespect to Dylan Carlson and Jeremiah Jackson. They had a great day today. But overall, you would really like to see Dylan Beavers get at-bats. You would really like to see him get at-bats. You would really like to see him play because he doesn't really have too much competition out in the outfield. And I do think that he does get called up first before Basallo, or they call them both up together. Who knows? Basallo obviously has, competition with Ryan Mountcastle and Kobe Mayo playing first in DH and stuff like that. So it's kind of clogged right there. I think when they do call up Basallo, they're going to need to get him involved somehow and just kind of rotate those 3 players in some way for the rest of the year. We'll see what they end up doing. But I don't think that we're going to call them up this series. I honestly think that they're waiting for the homestand coming up next week, which is the 21st of August. I think that might be what they're waiting for, because if they don't call them up by then I really don't know what they're doing, and I really don't know why they're not getting called up. Obviously, everybody was expecting them to get called up today. They didn't, and now at any point in time they could get called up because the service time stuff is already passed, and it won't mess up a year or the rookie year eligibility. So again, this is the time to call up prospects. We've seen teams around the league do it recently, today and yesterday. So if you're going to call up a prospect, now's the time to do it. And the Orioles got 2 elite prospects waiting to be an Oriole. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what the Orioles decide to do. Again, if the news comes out that we're calling them up, I will make an emergency episode talking about it. Who knows when it's going to happen? Who knows if it's going to be at the beginning of September? Who knows if it's going to be at the homestand? Who knows when it's going to be? But I am going to sit here and just hopefully trust the process that it's going to work out fine. Obviously, that is something to look forward to. But at the same time, I don't really want to think about that right now because the Orioles got such a good win today, and obviously Brandon Young ended up having almost a historical game for the Orioles. But going over the pitching in this game, obviously we already talked about it a lot in this episode already, but Brandon Young gets his first major league win of his career. He's 1-6 on the season. His ERA drops from a 6.70 to a 5.68, so it drops almost 1 full point, which is really cool to see. And Brandon Young also, again, I'll say it one more time, gets through 8 innings of work, gives up only 1 hit, no walks, no runs, and has 6 strikeouts. He was flirting with perfection in this game. He was so unbelievably close to a perfect game. He was 4 outs away. He went 23 straight batters. He retired 23 straight batters, 23 up, 23 down, 7.2 innings perfect in this game for Brandon Young. All the respect goes to him. And then Geraldo comes in and doesn't give up a hit, run, or anything in the 9th inning. So overall, an amazing win for the Orioles. Brandon Young with the game of his life. The Orioles offense also performed very well. And then they're going into the game tomorrow. And the winner of tomorrow's game, either the Orioles can win the series tomorrow over the Astros, or if the Orioles lose, then it'll go to a Game 3 rubber match on Sunday. But if you go over to the game tomorrow, it is going to be Cade Povich versus Jason Alexander. Jason Alexander has struggled a little bit this year. Cade Povich also has had his struggle this year. So this game might be pretty high scoring. We'll see. But hopefully, nonetheless, whatever ends up happening, hopefully the Orioles can go out there tomorrow in Houston, win tomorrow, win the series, and then try and go for the sweep on Sunday. Obviously, the Astros are a great team. They're 68-54. They're one of the best teams in baseball this season. And just the performance that they put on against the Mariners, plus this game one against the Astros, is really showing like some statement games from the Orioles and really showing a big statement on how this Orioles team knows that they have talent. Just a lot of stuff happened in April and May of this season, and that they're still a talented team. And we got really nothing to lose, so it's very fun watching this. But hopefully the Orioles can get a series win over the Astros tomorrow. Hopefully the Astros pitching. Hopefully Jason Alexander doesn't go out there tomorrow and do what Brandon Young did to them today. But hopefully Cade Povich can do his thing tomorrow. And hopefully this, if it's a high-scoring game, that'll be fun, but who knows. Hopefully the Orioles can get a win. Hopefully they can get a series win and then try and go for the sweep on Sunday. Another thing that I want to go over is the Ravens preseason game that does happen tomorrow at 7 p.m. This game starts at the exact same time that the Orioles and Astros game starts. So we're going to have a lot of stuff to cover tomorrow. We got Orioles-Astros game 2 of that series where hopefully the Orioles can win the series tomorrow. So we're going to be going over that game tomorrow. And then we're also going to be going over the Cowboys and Ravens preseason game 2. This is the second game of the preseason for the Ravens and also the Cowboys. This game is going to be in Dallas, so hopefully the Ravens can do well. And we got all these Baltimore guys out in Texas right now. Obviously the Ravens in Dallas and the Orioles in Houston. So all these Baltimore guys all in the state of Texas right now. So hopefully the Orioles can win tomorrow against the Astros and win that series. But also, hopefully, the Ravens on the road can beat the Cowboys and go 2-0 in this preseason with one game left to go. But tomorrow, I do want to kind of discuss real quick before we go into tomorrow's game and before we cover tomorrow's game, tomorrow night, whenever we cover the Ravens and Cowboys game. I kind of want to go over some players that I'm looking forward to seeing. Obviously, it's very similar to the guys last week. Guys like Malachi Starks, guys like Mike Green, guys like LeJohntay Wester, guys like Tyler Loop. Those are the 4 guys that I'm really looking at. I'm also looking at Daniel Falele to have a big bounce-back performance. Obviously, last week against the last week whenever he played the Colts, he kind of got ran over in that game. He didn't look great at all, and lots of things were said about Daniel Falele after that game and just overall what he's been doing in training camp. But hopefully Daniel Falele can go out there and put up a big bounce-back performance. Hopefully he can play well against this Cowboys preseason team. And overall, Those are really the guys I'm looking at. Again, Malachi, Mike Green, LeJonte Wester, Tyler Lupin, Daniel Falele. Those are the guys that I'm really looking to have a good game tomorrow, make a big impact. And I'm also hopefully looking to see maybe a Malachi interception, maybe a Mike Green sack or something like that. We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but hopefully the Ravens can beat the Cowboys, go 2-0 in this preseason with 1 game left to go, and then obviously hopefully the Orioles can beat the Astros and win that series. So tomorrow's episode is going to have a ton of content. Orioles, Astros, Ravens, Cowboys, got a lot of stuff to go over, so make sure to tune into tomorrow's episode as well. It's going to be a banger for y'all. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow up on Spotify, and also make sure to like the video on YouTube as well. And if you want to follow my Twitter or my Instagram, where on Twitter I'm posting live updates to every single thing going on, Orioles and Ravens related, every single update, every single bit of breaking news, live game updates, all that stuff. I'm tweeting that all on my Twitter, so make sure to go give that a follow. Make sure to give the Instagram a follow as well, because I post updates on every time an episode is uploaded. So make sure to give both those a follow. Make sure to like and subscribe on the YouTube. Make sure to follow the Spotify. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. Tomorrow's episode is going to be huge, full of content. We got an Orioles game to go over tomorrow, and we've got a Ravens preseason game to go over tomorrow as well. So we've got a ton of stuff going on tomorrow, so make sure to tune into tomorrow's episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. You have a great Stales day. Go O's, go Ravens. Shout out to Brandon Young one more time, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.